Some people believe the only way to answer pain is with more pain. They shout, they scheme, they post on social media trying to make their enemy feel small. But let me tell you the truth that very few dare to say. The most devastating response to those who hurt you is not revenge. It is the silence that makes them realize they never had any power to begin with. Think of it like this. Imagine you are standing in a boxing ring, gloves on, your rival ready to fight. The crowd is screaming, waiting for blood. But instead of lifting your fists, you calmly take off your gloves, step out of the ring, and walk away to a life much bigger than the fight itself. That moment, the refusal to even play their game, is the punch they never see coming. The absence of your fight is the blow that truly destroys them. In this video, I'm going to take you through 7 parts, 7 moves that combine the wisdom of the Stoics with real everyday situations, the office, family dinners, broken relationships, even something as ordinary as standing in line at the airport or shopping mall. In this video, I'll take you through 7 invisible weapons like indifference, success, and silence that the Stoics mastered and that you can use in real life today. And here's the promise. When we reach the 5th part of this video, I will share with you something special. A practice so simple yet so powerful that if you try it for even 30 days, it will rewrite the story you tell yourself about the one who tried to break you. Consider it a gift from me to you, a tool you can use right after watching. This isn't just theory, it's not just quotes from dead philosophers. It's about how you, today, can turn the weight of betrayal, gossip, disrespect, or heartbreak into the kind of strength that no one can steal from you. So let me ask you directly, who in your life has been waiting for your reaction, feeding off your anger, expecting your collapse? And more importantly, are you ready to surprise them by giving them nothing at all, and in that nothing, finding your own power? Take a breath, lean in, and let's begin. 1. Indifference, the weapon they can't handle. They expect you to fight back. That's the script they wrote for you. They poke, they provoke, they wait for you to explode. But indifference, that's the move they never see coming. And that's why it cuts deeper than any insult you could throw. Think of it like a fire. Pour gasoline on it, and it roars higher. But remove the oxygen, and the fire suffocates. Indifference is the act of cutting off the oxygen supply. The one who tried to hurt you starts to choke on their own flames while you walk away untouched. I remember a time in the office when a colleague spread rumors behind my back, trying to corner me into a public outburst. Everyone expected drama, but instead I stayed calm, delivered my presentation, and left the room without a single defensive word. Days later, the rumor faded, and the colleague looked small, because nothing they said found a reaction to stick to. The power of indifference isn't in proving yourself right, but in showing that they were never big enough to disturb your focus in the first place. Reacting makes them important. Ignoring makes them invisible. Many think indifference is weakness. The truth? It's the highest form of strategy. Many confuse silence with surrender, but in reality, silence is the rope that lets their ego hang itself. I once drafted a 3-page angry email to someone who wronged me. It was sharp, detailed, ruthless. Then I realized, if I send this, I'm declaring them the most important person in my day. So I did something better. I pressed delete. It felt like winning a war without even leaving my chair. So how do you practice indifference in real life? Start small. The next time someone tries to provoke you, whether it's a sarcastic comment at dinner or a colleague fishing for a reaction, pause. Don't rush to correct them. Don't rush to defend yourself. Take one slow breath, smile gently, and change the subject. That single pause is often the most devastating response of all, Because in that moment, you show something bigger. Their words never reached you. They bounced off the surface of a person too centered, too grounded, too unshaken to care. So I'll ask you this: who in your life right now is still feeding on your reactions, waiting for your error, your defense, your pain? And what would happen if you stopped giving them that oxygen? If you simply chose indifference and in that silence took back your power? If this resonates with you, don't just watch. Like the video so more people can reclaim their power the same way. 2. Denying their importance. The punishment they fear most. Every attack hides a secret hunger, the hunger to matter. When someone insults you, betrays you, or disrespects you, what they really crave is proof that they had an impact. They want to be the storm you can't ignore, the name you can't stop repeating. And that's exactly why denying their importance is the most brutal punishment of all. Think of it like graffiti sprayed on a wall. The artist wants you to stop, stare, react. But if you simply paint over it, or better, walk past without even noticing, it loses its meaning. The same goes for people who try to leave their mark on your soul. The less you acknowledge them, the quicker their attempt dissolves. I've seen this play out in friendships. There was a guy in my circle who loved throwing sharp jokes at my expense in front of others, hoping I'd fire back and give him the spotlight he craved. But I didn't bite. I just smiled, changed the subject, and kept the energy moving. That moment of silence, heavier than any comeback, told the truth. Your words don't reach me. And suddenly, the power he thought he had vanished. Not because I fought, but because I refused to make him important. Here's the contrarian truth. When you explain, when you defend, when you even shout, you are writing their name in bold letters across your own life. But when you move on without a word, their name fades into lowercase nothing. Explanation is oxygen. Stop feeding the fire. The truth is, when I was younger, I wasn't always this strong. I once spent an entire evening drafting a 20-page journal entry explaining why someone didn't matter to me. 20 pages. By the end, I had to admit the obvious. If I wrote that much, they clearly still mattered. That's when I closed the notebook and replaced the words with action. I went for a run, invested in myself, and realized progress is the only statement worth making. So here's your practice. When tempted to explain your side of the story, don't. Let your results be your response. The promotion you earn, the peace you cultivate, the smile on your face, that's the language they understand but can never argue with. And here's my question to you. Who are you still making bigger just by trying to prove they're small? And what would shift in your life if, starting today, you denied them the very thing they crave most, your attention? In part 3, I'll show you the move that ends the argument without saying a word. 3. Absence, the loudest response. Sometimes the loudest noise you can make is to leave. People expect arguments, slammed doors, angry words that echo down the hall. What they don't expect is the chair left empty, the voice that doesn't answer, the presence that simply vanishes. And that absence often thunders louder than any confrontation ever could. Think of it like an echo chamber. Shout into it, and the noise bounces back, feeding the cycle. But walk out of the chamber, and the shouting collapses into silence. Absence breaks the loop. It denies the one who hurt you the reaction they crave, leaving them to wrestle only with themselves. I once sat in a busy cafe where a woman kept throwing sharp, sarcastic remarks at the man across from her. She raised her voice, exaggerated her gestures, clearly fishing for a scene that the whole room could watch. For a moment, everyone waited for his explosion, but it never came. He quietly set down his cup, stood up, and left without a word, No anger, no defense, no justification, just absence. And in that moment, the cafe shifted. Her voice, suddenly without a target, felt out of place. And if you're nodding right now, drop a comment with the word calm, so I know you're walking this path too. Here's the contrarian truth. Arguing feeds them, even if you win. Absence starves them, even if you say nothing. You don't need to fight for the last word when the act of leaving makes your silence the final word. Sometimes let's imagine your absence like a mystery novel. People keep flipping pages, wondering where the main character went, but the character never returns, and the story feels unfinished. That's the torture. That's the power. So how do you practice this in real life? When disrespected, don't always rush to defend. Try leaving once, not with anger, but with clarity. Walk away from the argument, the toxic group chat, the endless debate. Give them the empty space they never wanted. Because absence creates a mirror, it forces them to face their own words without your energy to bounce against. Where in your life would walking away once, just once, change everything? And in that silence, the weight of their actions becomes unbearable. So let me ask you, in your own life, where would walking away once, not in rage but in calm dignity, speak louder than staying and fighting? And are you willing to let your absence be the message they can't escape? 4. Success, the mirror. They can't escape. Their greatest fear is not your anger. It's your smile after the storm. The one who tried to bring you down imagines your collapse, your tears, your bitterness. But when you rise instead, when you build, when you thrive, your very existence becomes a mirror they cannot escape. Every success you create throws their failure back in their face. Think of it like planting a garden after someone tried to salt your soil. They expected emptiness, weeds, nothingness. And then one morning, flowers bloom brighter than ever. Your success becomes the contradiction to their prediction. And contradictions sting more than any insult. History gives us countless examples. Think of Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison, labeled a criminal, forgotten by many who believed he would wither away in silence. His enemies expected him to emerge bitter, broken, or irrelevant. But when he walked free, he didn't crumble. He rose to lead a nation. His very existence as president became a mirror his jailers could never avoid. Their attempt to erase him ended in the one thing they feared most, his undeniable success. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Mandela's rise proved this truth. He didn't mirror the bitterness of his jailers. He became something higher, and that's what made his success undeniable. Here's the contrarian truth. You don't rise to prove them wrong. You rise to prove yourself right. Yet ironically, every step forward, every victory, becomes an unspoken verdict they cannot overturn. And let's be honest, sometimes it's almost comical. Nothing is more awkward than bumping into someone who bet against you while you're thriving. It's like them walking into a party they weren't invited to, only to see your name glowing on the banner. So here's the practice. Stop feeding the fantasy of revenge. Instead, feed your growth. Every day, commit to one small action that builds your future. Reading a book, hitting the gym, saving $1, learning a skill. Let time do the talking. Success is not built in grand gestures, but in daily bricks quietly stacked until a fortress stands where ruins once were. And I'll leave you with this reflection. What if the very wounds they gave you are not proof of your weakness, but seeds of your strength? Your wounds are not proof of weakness, they are seeds of strength. And what if, years from now, your happiness is the echo they can never silence? If you're still here by now, you're part of the rare ones. Hit subscribe so you don't miss parts 6 and 7. 5. Contempt, the invisible strike. Hate is still a chain. Anger is still a thread. The moment you hate someone, they still live inside you, shaping your breath, your pulse, your words. But contempt, true contempt, erases them. It is not shouting, not cursing, not arguing. It is treating them as if they never existed in your story at all. And nothing corrodes the ego faster than oblivion. Think of it like deleting spam from your inbox. A scammer wants you to click, to argue, to reply with outrage. But you don't. You swipe left. One motion, gone. And in that simple act, their entire strategy collapses. That's contempt, total nullification. I once watched a famous woman face a storm of anti-fans mocking her looks, her voice, her every move. They expected rage, tears, or long explanations. But she gave them nothing, no posts, no replies, no energy. She kept living, kept working, and slowly their noise faded into silence. That contempt, treating them as irrelevant, was her sharpest strike. And let me break the tension with a laugh. Once someone told me they were done with me forever. Weeks later, they kept sending me messages, furious that I wasn't replying. I realized they didn't want to be hated. They wanted to be remembered. Contempt starved them of what they wanted most, my attention. Here's the contrarian truth. The opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is nothingness. Hatred still acknowledges importance. Contempt sweeps the stage clean. So here's your practice. The next time a toxic voice circles back, resist the urge to explain or lash out. Instead, imagine sliding their name into the recycle bin of your mind. Don't give them space in your sentences. Let their shadow dissolve in the light of your new focus. What if, for the next 7 days, you stop giving them even a mention? And here's the gift I promise you. I call it the silent scoreboard. For the next 7 days, write down 3 wins from your day that have nothing to do with the one who hurt you. Each time you succeed, mark a simple X for I didn't mention them today. At the end of 7 days, flip back through the pages. You'll see a scoreboard filled only with your growth and an empty space where their name should have been. That emptiness is the proof they no longer exist in your wrong story. If this gift feels powerful, share this video. Someone in your circle needs to hear it today. If you started the silent scoreboard, wait for what happens by day 7. Now let me ask you, who in your life has been surviving only on the fuel of your reaction? And what would happen if, starting today, you denied them even the memory they crave? Part 6, Self-Control, the crown. No one can steal. The manipulator always waits for the same moment, the crack in your control. They expect to see you unravel, to beg, to shout, to prove. Because the second you lose control, they win. But when you master yourself, when you answer chaos with calm, the crown shifts. Self-control is the crown no one can steal. Think of a storm. Branches bend, roofs shake, trees collapse. But deep in the ocean, beneath the surface, the water is calm. That's self-control, staying steady when the world above you is thrashing. People don't expect calm, and that's why it's so devastating. I once stood in an airport line when a man behind me began muttering insults, trying to provoke me. Old me would have snapped back. Instead, I stayed calm, said nothing, and moved forward when my turn came. His anger collapsed into silence. He looked smaller, not me. Epictetus said it plainly, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's exactly what self-control is. Freedom. The moment you hold your center, no insult can chain you. Here's the contrarian truth. The louder they expect you to be, the quieter you should become. That's not weakness, it's dominance. Every calm breath you take in the face of provocation is like stealing the script from their hands and rewriting it. And let's lighten the air with some honesty. When I was younger, I thought raising my voice made me powerful. I mistook volume for authority. But authority isn't about who speaks loudest. It's about who doesn't need to raise their voice at all. So here's your practice. The next time someone provokes you, at work, in traffic, in a relationship, don't rush to speak. Lower your tone instead of raising it. Slow down your breathing. Hold your body still. Notice how quickly the other person's energy starts to wobble when yours stays unshaken. Because mastery isn't about controlling the world. It's about controlling yourself. And in that self-control, every manipulator is unmasked. They see that the power they thought they had over you was never real. It was borrowed from your reaction. So let me ask you, if you could hold your center no matter the storm, how many people would lose the power they thought they had over you? And what kind of freedom would that give you? And in the final part, I'll show you the ending that haunts more than any angry word ever could. Part 7. Silence without explanation. The final blow. Closure is a myth. People think every story needs a final conversation, a last text, a grand explanation. But the sharpest ending is no ending at all. Silence without explanation. It is the strike they cannot block, the question that keeps echoing in their minds long after you've left. Think of it like a stage play. The audience waits for the final act, the curtain call, the bow. But instead, the lights go out, the curtain never rises again, and the actors vanish. That unfinished silence haunts more than any scripted goodbye. I once watched a man try to drag his old friend into an argument online, tagging him, posting bait after bait, but the friend never answered. No comment, no defense, no final word. Days turned into weeks and the silence grew unbearable. Not for the one who walked away, but for the one who kept shouting into the void. The absence of reply became the loudest reply. Here's the contrarian truth. When you argue, you still share the stage. When you explain, you still acknowledge their role in your story. But when you vanish without explanation, you take the stage with you, leaving them to perform alone in an empty theater. And let me smile at myself for a second. In my younger days, I chased closure like it was oxygen. I wanted the last word, the clear ending, the perfect line. But I learned that silence often heals faster than words. You don't always need to lock the door. You just need to stop walking back into the room. So here's your practice. If you feel trapped in a toxic loop, cut it, not with anger, but with absence. Don't announce, don't justify, simply step out, calmly, firmly, quietly. Let time do the talking. Let their own echo torment them. Because silence without explanation creates a prison. And the jailer is not you, it's their own mind. They replay every scene, searching for answers you never gave, until regret becomes their only companion. So I'll leave you with this. Who in your life deserves nothing, not even your final word? And what peace might you discover if you stop handing out explanations to those who never earned your truth in the first place? Final reflection. Strength is not found in shouting, in proving, or in chasing revenge. Strength is found in walking forward so steadily that the ones who tried to break you will dissolve into the dust behind you. Every time you choose indifference over drama, absence over arguments, growth over revenge, contempt over hate, self-control over chaos, and silence over endless explanations. You reclaim yourself. Remember this, the real victory is not when they fall. The real victory is when their fall no longer matters to you. Because the one who rises, the one who smiles, the one who keeps building, that's you. And no shadow from the pine can dim that light. So leave the noise behind. Carry your dignity forward. Let them sit in the prison of their own echoes, while you step freely into the life you were meant to live. Whisper this to yourself: they never had power over me. I am the author now. And if you felt this message, subscribe and join me here. We rise together. Take a breath, walk lighter. And remember, silence is not emptiness. Silence is your crown.